What's going on? If you can't get enough of me, well, then I'm coming. I'm all yours. I'm all yours. I am Robbydrew, and you're tuned in to my channel today to hear about another indie gaming itch that I had. Now, if you weren't a big fan of Tharsis, that's fine. You know, it's a cool game, but it's a very simple mechanic, and it tries to give it a complex feel, and I think they did a good job with it. That's just me. I'm a big fan of the game. I gave it a thumbs up. Now, this game got a thumbs up too, but it almost had a couple of deal breakers for an indie game that I almost didn't want to pick it up. But one thing is, I definitely like the animation to it, and for an indie artwork, they did well. So today we're going to talk about this game. Been out for a while, and it is called Death to Vinland. Now, if you've never heard of this game, EA currently is the publisher of it. I don't know how that happened because it never hit stores. You know, these indie companies, they go with EA. They go with EA, but it's in the Origin store if you want to check it out. The Orange store. It's in the Origin store, which just happens to have an orange logo. Something to see. So let's talk a little bit about the gameplay and my deal breakers with this. We're going to go ahead and load up and load up a character. Now, I haven't beaten this game yet. Let's go to right here. Perfect. Got a little bit of a load screen, and well, let's just beam me down, Scotty. All right, so concept of this game. You have characters. You can put characters at different locations. You can go and use your sidebar to drop characters at locations. But your characters are the ones acquiring resources, so you got to put them where resources can be collected to get resources. Now, here was my deal breaker with this game. These four characters right here, not this guy. These four characters right here, they're your starting characters. Now, your starting characters must stay alive. Sounds simple, right? Sounds simple. I'm going to have to move myself out sidebar so you can see this because I wanted you to see in detail. All right, this is why I moved myself here. Let's talk a little bit about these stats right here. You got fatigue, hunger, sickness, injury, depression. And with sickness and injury and hunger, you already know these are usually in games. They affect you, right? Now, usually when these things go and hit critical points like 100%, start taking hits on your health, and then you eventually perish, right? But not this game. So in this game, if any one of these 5 stats hits 100%, you're done. Now, that wouldn't be too bad because you'd figure there's a lot of instances and interrupts that can bring it down. But not really. You have cycles to upkeep your characters. And if one of these characters just happens to have a sudden hunger strike or sickness hit them off cycle or something happens and they get a major injury in battle and you can't tend to the needs in time, then you've really got a problem. You've got a big problem here. And it might not be something that you could fix in that day, and then you die, and then you have to restart your game, which has happened to me more often than not. Now, let's go into a little bit about the gameplay, because the combat is long, and I want to point out some details. So we're just going to go ahead and hit next now. So you can see, of course, you got your modules, right? Because you've got a crafting station. You put down your modules, and you have your resources that you gain from your modules, and your characters give and take on gaining resources, you know? So here we go. Characters are doing things, crafting and whatnot, and gaining progression towards their modules. Actually, I have to pick up the mouse again. Can you believe it? Here we go. So, there we go. Our characters are going along. Look at that. Hey. They're getting water and resources, and we're about to enter combat. I just get that feeling. I get that feeling. Now, this down here is your exploration area. You could sit to explore all different sections of the map, but it's a percentage rate. And you can actually see they use about a half a point of water every time they do it, and they go explore and take a little fatigue. And we didn't run any combat, so let's do it again. Oh yeah, I gotta go to that one area where they just finished crafting. Move this person somewhere else. Let's move them to. Yeah. Mouse DPS is running real slow today. Or if that's my mouse giving up its last leg. All right, so if none of my characters die here, you're gonna hopefully see some combat. So, of course, they're taking hits and zaps for fatigue and everything else, as they should. Oh, now someone died before then. So, died of fatigue, right? Oh, no. Just got depressed, died of suicide. And that's a wrap. One character dies, the game is over. One character dies, the game is over. And the game can just end because they were collecting resources and they get depressed. I really wanted to show a lot of the combat to this, but I just don't have it in me. I've already made this video a couple of times, and because of sound issues or whatever, I started over, and I'm not going to show you the combat. There's tons of videos of people playing the game of combat. I do want to point out some details, though, about the combat. Maybe I can just... Actually, you know what? Best way to do this would just... Maybe we can cheat the system to get some combat in. Go back to earlier game, and I might be able to just cheat and just hit next until someone gets the combat in there. There we go. We got on high speed. So things about the combat, if it doesn't happen on this round, I'm not saying the combat is horrible, but what I will say is that it's repetitive. The artwork is beautiful, absolutely stunning and amazing, but it's repetitive. It's very repetitive, and to the point where you get the same animations over and over again, and they didn't add anything new. And to me, if they start building a game that they want to do DLCs and everything about, step one should be, you know, it's the little things that keep it feeling unique and fresh. And they put a lot of attention to detail on a lot of these unique things. Okay, we got combat. Here we go. And I mean, all the way down to the screen moving every time you move your mouse. The artwork and the framework of it, it gives it a unique feeling that's very busy, even though it isn't. So the idea of them not taking the time to do something with this art really kind of disturbs me, because I mean, they could have done it a couple of different poses and called it a day, and we'll go through some combat. Now, I know what you're saying earlier, Rob. You said it had 5 stats, and I see health bars. Well, these health bars are only applicable in combat. And furthermore, if you go below the white ticker health bar, you go into health damage that actually results in injury. So it actually goes ahead and stacks on to the damage that they take. So we're going to go ahead and just do some damage. And I'm not going to go crazy with this and show you all the way through it, but I mean, as you can kind of see, it's going to be the same art. And it's beautiful art. I don't want to take away from the developers and what they did with this game, because it is an amazing game for the artwork. And I will say that this aspect of combat, while it's not very complex, it is unique. And, you know, we always talk about we want something different. Well, you wanted something different. Here it is. Here it is. And for an indie game, something different on this level on a shoestring budget is amazing. So they did it. And they really deserve a pat on the back because they did it right. But it is so complexing, and in the attempt of making it difficult and making it a challenge to creative players to make it that next generation of game, I will say that it really kind of becomes distracting, and I don't want to say boring, but yeah. So you get the clue there, folks. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'm sure you kind of get the idea of the combat. Anyways, once again, game is called Death to Vinland. Once again, I am Robbydrew. His name right here. If you want to do comments, I got the section below in Facebook. Go ahead and drop your comments. I'll get back to you if you ever want to stream up. I'm always down to light up a stream and make things happen. So hit me up and yeah, another indie game. Peace.